This has given me a lot of anxiety watching this from Utah. I just can't get over this.
Here to this direction.
Come on!
And many of the homes, as we drove in today, we would see them and we would think, wow, that home is safe. But now with this wind coming in and carrying those embers down, many of those homes are now once again on fire. So it is the story we will be telling out here tonight.
More.
And with the night hours going on right now, it makes it only harder for the firefighters out here. That combination of how dark it is, visibility is low with all the smoke, and then on top of that, you've got these strong wind gusts that just do not seem to let up, Trace.
And the firefighters.
And there's a fourth fire in the Hollywood Hills now.
Back to you throughout the night, Jeff. Thank you. Well, the Eaton fire, which broke out during our coverage last night, now covers more than 10,000 acres. It has spread that fast.
Oh my
very short
goodness, that's Eaton Canyon.
At least 5 lives.
Gosh, we used to go up there all the time.
Latest on that fire. Christina, this is really our first up-close look at the Eaton fire. What is it you're seeing?
They're saying Eaton because it's Eaton Canyon.
It's devastating. I'm just going to get out of the way so you can see it immediately. You can see these flames just ripping through this house. This house has existed here for more than 40 years. I just spoke with a gentleman who told me this house belongs to the parents of his childhood friend. You could tell that he was very emotional. I mean, look at it. Look at it just falling apart there. The roof just collapsed. Firefighters were out here just moments ago working on this house. And just within seconds, as you were reading your intro, Trace, this fire flared back up. You could see the flames ripping through the roof of this house. Now, this fire broke out yesterday around 6:20 in the evening, fueled by the strong winds in this area.
When I was little, about 13 and 12,
acres, and as you mentioned,
we had no younger than that. I must have been about 9 or 10.
750 firefighters are
we had a neighbor that took us up this canyon, and there was a there up Eaton Canyon, and we used to go up there all the time. It was so beautiful. She made sure that us children were in the mountains and could smell the, mountain air and be in a waterfall. She always packed cookies and food and blankets. My mom didn't take us up Eaton Canyon, but this one lady did from the neighborhood. She loved a lot of us children. We didn't have a lot growing up, but when we got in that canyon, it was like heaven. It's a beautiful canyon.
10,000 acres.
Golly.
5 lives. Just very, very devastating, Trace.
Indeed it is. Christina Coleman.
I don't know where you or everybody is watching this.
Thank you. Let's bring in Orange County Fire Chief Brian Fennessy. Chief, great to have you on. You can see we just got to the Eaton fire last night, expanded to
Why aren't they saying Eaton Canyon? It's Eaton Canyon.
That Matt Finn is making his way
It's a canyon. It's mountains.
Has already acknowledged they don't have the resources to fight two
New
fires,
brush fire breaks out in Hollywood Hills. So now we've got another one here.
Your resources to try and limit them, to get them spread out. What's the remedy?
Yeah, as large as our metropolitan fire departments are, when you get into situations with large
wildfires, we have a lot of fireworks here in Utah, and you don't want to mess with all these kind of fires, folks. This isn't good tonight. This is very sad. And I heard it all started with a fire in a backyard. My goodness. Sorry I'm making this video, but it's devastating to watch something like this. I've been praying, and it's just awful, awful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I look at the acreage, and that's a large fire. But more importantly is the number of structures that have been lost. And many times it takes the incident management teams and those managing the fires to really get an accurate acreage. I would suggest that a fire is probably larger than what we're being told right now, because it's growing. And especially that Eaton fire. I happened to be at the Eaton fire. I grew up in Altadena, had a brother that was trapped last night. I ended up responding up there and actually got to drive through the devastation. And, I've done this for 47 years, been to dozens of Santa Ana fires, and I have never seen the level of devastation that I saw this morning. It is unfathomable. That fire reached areas that I would have bet would have never happened.
Amazing.
Okay, when you're listening to something like this, does this have something to do with the Bible? What's going on with these fires?
Water is low, that there's nothing they can do. What's the strategy?
There's no water there either.
Fighting a fire with no water.
Right. I mean, water's our number one tool. That's what we bring to the fight. And when there's no water, there's limits to what you can do. And you know, in the early stages of these fires, as you and I discussed last night, it's all about rescue and getting people out of harm's way. Then we really get into the suppression mode. But if you don't have access to water, you're largely dead in the water. You may have water tenders. You may have the ability to draft from ponds and pools and those sorts of things. But without water, yes, your hands are tied.
Oh my goodness, so what's going to happen?
Fennessy, thank you so much for joining us for the second night in a row. We'll get back to you, Chief.
Yeah, this is the second night in a row.
Thank you, sir.
Put the fires out, people.
Field today to anchor both the 4 p.m. show on Fox News Channel and to get a first-hand look at the devastation.
I don't want to look at it anymore. I got to pray.
But in Malibu as well, and we saw just how fast these flames are able to move. I want to give you an idea of how fast this fire was moving in the early hours. You see this hillside here, how it was burned all the way down. The winds were 70+ miles per hour. This is the Pacific Coast Highway. Right now we are in southern Malibu, just north of Pacific Palisades, that was devastated. Let's just let these fire vehicles go across.
Oh my goodness.
So the fire came down this hill and then it crossed over Pacific Coast.
Well, the ocean's right there.
The power lines here. This pole was burned in half, and as you walk over here you can see the oceanfront homes here. This one is clearly still on fire. There's not a lot of water in this area, so as you go down the line there's not really a lot that fire crews can do to protect the rest of these homes. But if you come over here you can see the ocean and the oceanfront homes, multi-million-dollar
how sad.
homes. And as far as the eye can see down here,
look at the ocean's right there. Oh, Lord.
Destroyed, burned to the ground. And this is Malibu, where the crux of the fire hasn't even gotten to yet. Yeah. And it's just moving that direction today. In fact, the wind is changing. It's coming out of Malibu, moving back into Pacific Palisades, and some down to Santa Monica. There were more evacuation notices for Santa Monica.
Well, I kind of just want to get off of here now. This is just awful. I do video things, you know.
California resident Jessica
this is just awful.
Lost 2 of your homes in the Pacific Palisades. You weren't living in the homes at the time, but this has got to be just devastating to sit and watch and not know what's happening up there.
It's beyond devastating. I actually was living in one of the homes and I had to evacuate, and with very few pieces of clothing on me and very few items taken out of the homes. What I want to say is that what has happened in the last 48 hours is a message of hope. We have lost everything. Mm-hmm. I have friends who are able to go in, and there's footage that has not been presented to everybody, and our homes have been decimated. The village is gone. Everything is gone. We are going to need to rebuild.
You know, we looked at the pictures, and as we look at these things, it truly is devastating. When you say everything is gone, you're right. I mean, we had a correspondent up by the village. That's kind of the heart of Pacific Palisades, and it's unbelievable.
May the Lord bless them this
evening.
evening.
You wonder for the people.
I hope I can just stop. I hope my next video is it's done, that the fire's out.
Go to the market without having to
remember Hawaii? They had a big fire too with the lava.
The Residents Association